Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Okay, let's go to the Rams. Let's start with you on this one, Talon. Real quick, the Rams last year, they finished 10-6. That's 10-7. I think they got beat in the wild card round, if I'm not mistaken. They did make the playoffs so last year. So let's start with you, Clint. Favorite move that the Rams made?
Jared Verse in the first round. Like, he's looked pretty impressive. And it's always training camp videos. Half these guys look awesome, but they needed help on that defensive line. Obviously you can't replace Aaron Donald, and he was a DT anyhow, but I like the value of the pick. He kind of slid down. They need a pass rush. I swear I can talk. Outside of that, they brought back some guys, but I think Jared Verse swing for a little upside. Everyone needs a pass rusher.
Okay. Yes, that good pick for them. What about you, Talon?
Yeah, I like that. The cornerback help, signing Tre'Davious White and Darius Williams will be nice additions because, as the aforementioned Aaron Donald retiring, they're not going to be bailed out. Their cornerbacks are not going to be bailed out by the opposing quarterback being sacked right away. So they needed to shore that up. Those cornerbacks will be helpful. Those kind of stood out to me.
Yeah, I good solid free agency signings, right? I put down Brandon Fisk, another defensive line they drafted in the second round. A lot of buzz coming out, but he's what they lost is impossible, and we'll talk about it probably. But what they lost is impossible to replace. But everything that you read is he is a power rusher. And if you think about who they lost, Aaron Donald, who is a power rusher, that's what they needed them, somebody to at least do that. So it sounds like this guy is impressing as well in camp as far as being a power rusher. And if they did find someone to replace even like 60 or 70% of what Aaron Donald did, that will be a win if they found that in the second round of this year's draft. So I like that move and the reports coming out from for that guy. Okay, let's go least favorite move. Talon, what is your least favorite move that they made or happened to them, I should say?
Yeah, I guess, Aaron Donald retiring. Let's go and convince the guy one more year. This is the year. Let's go back to get you a second ring. Other than that, I didn't see anything that was atrocious. Just kind of like a wait and see mentality.
Yeah. What about you, Clint?
I don't think it's bad. It was just my least favorite because they put big money into two guards. Dotson had the one good year for him last year, but it's kind of like a 1 year wonder. Now we're going to pay him. I think he got like 17 or 18 million. And they brought in Jonah Jackson from Detroit, which was like, they seem to have no problem replacing him. Not that he's bad or anything, but again, like sometimes it's hard to, and they have the cap room for right now, but to spend, I think it was 17 million each on two guards. Again, not bad, but just probably a bit of an overpay, but they need offensive line help. So I'm not killing him for it. It's just a lot for a guard.
Sure. Okay. Zach Thomas is on their line too. I didn't know when that he came out of retirement from the Dolphins. Get it? Zach. No, you guys don't know. Okay. Well,
the linebacker, right?
Yeah. Well, he's trying his hand in offensive lineman. Anyway, also losing their defensive coordinator, Raheem Morris, right? Yeah, man. So I think on top of losing Aaron Donald and losing him, I think that would be my least favorite move. Is just that it kind of compounds. So now you need a whole defensive system. The guy they hired is kind of unknown, so we'll see what happens moving forward there. But that was another move that I think will hurt the Rams obviously this offseason. Green flag, Talon. Do you got a green flag for us?
Yeah, just their consistency on both offensive and defensive sides of the ball. Well-coached team. No one looks at the Rams on their schedule and is like, "Oh, this will be an easy week." They fight hard. So just the consistency aspect. They're well-coached, and they're going to be contending in every football game. This isn't the type of team that the game script is ever going to be a blowout for them or against them.
Yeah, that coaching was my big thing. Sean McVay mainly, but yeah, Clint.
I put their passing game. Like,
Yeah,
they're really good at kind of nickel and diming, and then they get over the top, which again, you're going to need Puka and Cooper Cup to be healthy to do a lot of that. But when that passing game gets going, they kind of like inverse of the Niners. They throw a lot to then run. And when that passing game gets going, Matthew Stafford's really good at those sidearm quick throws off to the side. So I think that keeps them on schedule.
yeah. They're and they got weapons, like we know that, and with Cup and Puka, so the passing game's a really good one. And yeah, and like I said before, I had Sean McVay, green flag. He always reinvents. He's probably a top 5 coach in the NFL. Maybe some people might have him higher. So, biggest red flag, Clint.
So I put down their defense and mainly replacing Donald. Like, are they going to be able to stop the run? Their 2 draft picks look good. They're more edge guys. And you have, I have them on my fantasy team. I can't think of the linebacker now. Anyhow, they have one awesome linebacker.
Ernest Jones.
Yes, Ernest Jones. I have him in my dynasty IDP league, but you don't have a linebacker next to him. Darius Williams is good. Tre'Davious White, like, he's coming off a couple injuries. Their safeties aren't awesome. So I just worry defensively, will it hold up if teams can now run on them more effectively? And you're relying on, in this case, mainly Tre'Davious White. Like, he's got high upside if he can be healthy, but you worry maybe the time has passed, the injuries have kind of wore him down. So I have a slight worry defensively that they can be consistent enough to slow teams down.
Okay, that's a good red flag. Their defense. What about you, Talon?
Yeah, a lot of health concerns,
Yeah.
and see if the D line can step up with the loss of Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is just an irreplaceable player. And so that's just a huge loss. And, it's easy to say, like, oh, no, we'll replace him. We'll find the next Aaron Donald. And that's all well and good, but it's hard to. And I think the whole NFC West, all the other 3 teams sighed a big sigh of relief when they saw they did. I know Geno Smith especially. Remember that clip from last year? He saw Donald running up and he's like, oh, my God. So yeah, the kind of consistency on the defensive side of the ball, like Clint said, and I know that was my green flag for them as well, but health would be my biggest concern.
Yeah, I had top heavy, so it goes along with health. It's just like you lose one of those receivers, their running back, Stafford, just like 2 defensive starters. All of a sudden, it's looking really bleak for the Rams. So I think the biggest red flag for me is they're very top heavy, and any injury, and like you mentioned, health is an issue, or as far as them staying healthy. So that I think top heavy is a big red flag for me in the Rams. Sorry, I'm a little distracted because apparently Matthew Judon just got traded to the Falcons. So the Patriots traded Matthew Judon to the Falcons. So breaking news.
Do you have a breaking news?
I should.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll make one up right now.
Just in.
This just in. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. Let's go fantasy go-to. Let's start with you on this one, Clint. Who's your fantasy go-to?
So this is risky. I'm going to go with Cooper Cup.
Yeah.
I know that you have the 31, and I agree with Talon. You get these older receivers, and it just disappears sometimes. But so far he's been healthy all off season, which is at least a good start. You start pulling, like last year, he pulled his hamstring 2 times before we even got to the season, and then it's just a no-go when you get to this age. But they need what he offers. Like, that offense again is the short passing, and Puka did it. And when they were both healthy, they're kind of like 1A, 1B interchangeable. So if he can stay a moniker of health, again, same with James Conner. Like, these guys, you're scared to get them, and you're not like, oh, I'm banking my team on a James Conner Cooper Cup combo. But I think if the Rams are going to have success and it's not a house of cards on offensively, they're going to need him to be good and to be healthy. But I think like his range of like top wide receiver, I think is gone because I don't think he can win it the same way he can after all these injuries. But I think you can get value with Cooper Kupp waiting a couple rounds, opposed to what you have to pay to get Puka Nacua, which you're banking on his talent. Said I have him in my keeper leagues. You saw 1 year. Does he slide back to the 1B role and get a couple less targets a game?
Yeah, and I like I honestly like him having like kind of a comeback season personally, Cup. So I'm with you on that one. What about you, Talon?
Yeah, that's a good one. But at risk of just reiterating everything you guys just brought out, I'll talk about Kyron Williams for a little bit. Sean McVay is a head coach that likes to roll with one running back, which is exciting. So it's always intriguing to have Rams running back, a lot of high upside. It's crazy to think that Kyron Williams went from last drafted last year or first week waiver round pickup to, I don't know, I think he's going like the 7th overall off the board right now, running back 1. But I think he's worth that value. I think he is, especially with Jahmyr Gibbs having that day-to-day injury. I think it
We're
was
not
the
talking about
ankle.
that. It's not about Jahmyr
Yeah,
Gibbs
yeah.
and his injury.
So
Just kidding.
Kyron's value just kind of raised a little bit my mind. Let's do this since we already brought up Jahmyr Gibbs. Who would you rather have going into this year? Jahmyr, Kyron, or Achane on your
Ooh,
fantasy team? Running back 1.
I would take Jahmyr Gibbs. I have Kyron Williams, and again, I have Puka and Kyron Williams in 2 of my keeper leagues that I snatched last year. Just Kyron worries me a little more from I get beat up, and
Yeah.
Sean McVay does like him, and Sean McVay, rides a running back as much as they say, oh, Blake Corum's going to play some, which I'm sure he'll get a few. But I would just worry if Kyron gets hurt and he misses 4 weeks and Blake Corum looks the part. Like, I don't know if, and the Rams are good, I don't know if he's just going to switch right back to it since Blake Corum was the guy he drafted. And I'm not high on Achane at all. So he would be 3rd on my list.
you're ridiculous.
Oh.
But what I would say, yeah, he's got all the hot takes. He comes on here just to hurt my feelings, I think. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
You have
I
a box
went
of
with Jahmyr
tissues
Gibbs for
on
you.
hand.
That's true. You can't talk bad about the Dolphins or the Lions, okay? That's all. That's all I ask. No.
Well,
Go ahead, Talon.
I'll be the soothing balm to that open, fresh wound that Clint just carved. Achane would be my number 1. I love that guy because I think all 3 of these guys have injury risks. Jahmyr Gibbs is on a team with so many mouths to feed, so that's my biggest concern with him. However, the talent's there and the draft capital. Kyron Williams will be, I think, highly targeted and a go-to for Matthew Stafford. However, draft capital is not so much there, and we've only seen a year of it. So it's like, will they go to the guy that they just drafted this year at any point? Because the draft capital is there. But Achane, he's got the skill. He's on a team where I think he's the 3rd most talented player on the offense. Raheem Mostert always will have his health issues. Last year was a fluke year. Might be a good handcuff, but Achane, the upside, man. The upside is there, and I'll take a gamble on that.
Yeah, so I guess if you want to swing for the fences, I go Achane. I would go Achane if I'm swinging for the fences. Gibbs, the thing that concerns me about Gibbs is they like Montgomery too. So Montgomery's going to steal carry. So it's going to be a split backfield. And you don't want to sit there trying to guess which running back is going to get all the touchdowns, because Montgomery gets the goal line carries most of the time. And then with Williams, if I drafted him, I want the handcuff for him.
Yes.
So if I draft Williams, I'm going to make an effort to get the second running back there that we already mentioned. I can't remember his name already. So
Blake
Corum. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So point being is like, I guess it just depends what you want. I think Achane, the thing with him that kind of excites you is that Mike McDaniels is the coach. and he will
Mhm.
get that dude in space. And he's electric in space. And then you obviously got McVay and Williams, but like I think Clint, you mentioned he's going to run that dude to the ground. So is he going to end up injured by week 6? So that's the thing that I would worry about. So I guess if I'm swinging for the fences, I'm going Achane. But if I want someone like maybe reliable, I go Gibbs. And if I want someone that I'm like, hey, this guy can be really good, but he's got like I want to handcuff him, it would be Williams. That's
and
good.
When I do fantasy, like I put Achane last because when I do running backs, like I want a guy that even if he doesn't have this is just me. If he doesn't have the upside, like Gibbs probably has maybe the lowest upside, assuming David Montgomery doesn't get hurt, right? He's going to be stuck in his 15, 17, 18 touches, alternating on the goal line, but he's like solid. He's probably not going to have a 2-point week. So I bank on that. And there's so many running back injuries that I can just find someone else that I would rather not risk the capital on Achane to get 5 carries and 2 catches, and he'll have a 2-point week and then a 34-point week. I'm just like risk averse with that. And I'm also same with like Tank Dell last year, had him, traded him. I'm not in the market for the exception to the rule guy. If he's an exception to the rule, I'll just trade him for whatever I can to get value and go with something more solid.
I want to play fantasy with you, Clint, because you're talking about all my favorite guys, so I know I get them for sure. Because I'm a huge Tank Dell man too.
Yeah, I had him last year and I used him to get Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I'm like, I'll take Amon-Ra St. Brown and book it, and you can have Tank. It was right before Tank Dell got hurt too. But that's just how I tend to, and I'll risk it in other positions. But that's just how I tend to like churn through these guys.
Well, I will say is that Talon, you're always welcome on the podcast, and Clint got to review your resume at this point because
I'm in the opposite side of the.
I'm just kidding.
On the opposite. He's on the opposite side of that league with Shannon, and I've been to the Super Bowl 3 straight years, so it's tried and true.
Okay, let's predict the Rams. Let's start with let's see, Talon this time. Clint this time. Clint, who do you got going? What is your prediction for the Rams this season?
8-9.
You got me all flustered right now. Like, I can't handle it. Talon, what about you?
Flip that, 9-8.
Okay, 8-9, 9-8. I have them at 9-8 as well as Talon. Okay. I'm just writing this down so I can try to remember to review it at the end of the year. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. You ready to talk about your Seahawks, Talon? Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.